In the dwindling light of an autumn afternoon, the small village of Eldritch Hollow seemed almost picturesque, nestled as it was in the embrace of ancient forests whose leaves had turned to a blazing array of reds and golds. But as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that seemed to seep into the very fabric of the buildings, an unsettling quiet took hold. It was a silence too heavy, filled with the weight of unspoken secrets and the echoes of past sins. Alex Hartfield arrived in Eldritch Hollow with the last rays of the day, driving an old Volvo that had seen better days, its engine rumbling like a beast, weary yet unwilling to rest. The car rolled to a stop in front of the only inn the village boasted, a quaint structure that seemed to lean slightly, as if it too bore the burdens of its past. Alex stepped out, stretching limbs cramped from too long on the road, their gaze drawn almost immediately to the dense forest that surrounded the village on all sides. There was something about the way the shadows moved between the trees, something almost whispering. The innkeeper, a woman of indeterminate age with sharp eyes, watched Alex over the rim of her glasses as they signed the guest book. "First time in Eldritch Hollow?" she asked, her voice carrying an undertone of something that might have been curiosity or perhaps caution. "Something like that," Alex replied, offering a smile that didn't quite reach their eyes. "I'm here for the quiet, to write." "Ah," the innkeeper said, as if that one word explained everything and nothing. "Well, you'll find plenty of that here. Just be careful in the woods. They can be tricky this time of year." Alex nodded, the warning slotting in with the dozens of other small-town superstitions they'd collected over the years. Yet, as they made their way up the creaking stairs to their room, a sense of unease settled in the pit of their stomach, a whisper that maybe this time was different. The room was simple, sparsely furnished but clean, with a window that offered a view of the forest's edge. Alex unpacked a small bag, setting a notebook and a pen on the bedside table, the tools of their trade. They had come to Eldritch Hollow to escape the noise of the world, to find in its silence the inspiration that had eluded them for months. But as darkness fell and the forest seemed to press closer against the glass, Alex wondered if they had found more than they bargained for. It was on the third night, when the moon hung full and bright in the sky, that Alex first heard the whispers, soft, insidious, carrying through the cracks in the walls and the spaces beneath the door. They spoke of things hidden and things lost, of deals made in desperation and the price of survival. Alex sat up in bed, listening until the whispers faded with the coming dawn, leaving behind a chilling question. Had they imagined it all? Driven by a newfound obsession, Alex began to explore Eldritch Hollow and its surroundings, their writer's curiosity drawn to the chapel that stood at the heart of the village. It was there, in the bowels of the old building, that they found the book, bound in leather that seemed too smooth, too alive. The book was a history of Eldritch Hollow, written in a hand that twisted and turned upon the page, leading Alex down a path of discovery that blurred the lines between history and horror. The more Alex read, the more the village seemed to change around them. The friendly nods of the villagers turned cautious, their smiles strained. The forest grew darker, its whispers louder, until Alex could no longer deny the truth. Eldritch Hollow was cursed, bound to a darkness that demanded a price for every blessing it bestowed. Faced with a choice between fleeing from the horror they had uncovered or confronting it, Alex chose to stay. They would unravel the mystery of Eldritch Hollow, of the entity known only as the Whisperer in the Woods, and of their own connection to a village that was more prison than sanctuary. Armed with knowledge gleaned from the ancient book and a determination to break the cycle of sacrifice and silence, Alex set out as the sun once again dipped low, casting long shadows that reached out like fingers, beckoning them into the heart of the darkness. As days bled into nights, Alex found themselves drawn deeper into the mysteries of Eldritch Hollow. The ancient book became both guide and tormentor, its pages filled with tales of rituals and sacrifice, of a village teetering on the brink of destruction only to be saved by a pact with a being whose hunger was as vast as the forest itself. The Whisperer in the Woods, as the entity was named, demanded tribute once a generation, a soul to wander the shadowed paths of the forest, never to return. In exchange, Eldritch Hollow thrived, untouched by the passage of time, a pocket of prosperity in a world that had long since moved on. But prosperity came at a cost. With each tribute, the fabric that separated the world of the living from the realm of the Whisperer thinned until whispers were not all that slipped through. Shadows lengthened, taking on a life of their own, and the forest grew restless, its whispers now screams in the night. The villagers spoke little of the pact, but their fear was palpable, a living thing that breathed in the spaces between words. They watched Alex with eyes that held a warning, and at times a plea. "Stay away from the forest," they said. "Stay away from the chapel." But Alex could not. Driven by a need to understand, to uncover the truth of their own lineage and its ties to the village, Alex ventured into the forest by day. The woods were alive with sound, the rustling of leaves and the crackling of underbrush underfoot. But beneath the cacophony of nature, there was something else, a melody, faint and haunting, that led Alex deeper into the heart of the forest. It was there, in a clearing bathed in the ethereal glow of moonlight, that Alex first saw them. The lost souls, tributes to the Whisperer, wandering the edge of the clearing, their faces pale and hollow, their eyes empty of all but despair. Alex's breath caught in their throat, a scream building beneath the weight of realization. The pact was not just a story, it was real, and its consequences were etched in the faces of the lost. Night after night, Alex returned to the clearing, drawn by a morbid fascination and a burgeoning resolve. They would end the pact, free the village from its bondage to the Whisperer. But each visit left them weaker, their dreams haunted by the lost souls who now seemed to recognize Alex, their hollow eyes filled with a new emotion, hope. The villagers noticed the change in Alex, the dark circles under their eyes, the way they jumped at shadows. "You've been to the forest," they whispered, their voices a mixture of fear and accusation. "You've seen them." Alex could only nod, their resolve hardening. They would not let fear dictate their actions. They would confront the Whisperer, break the pact that bound Eldritch Hollow to a cycle of sacrifice and sorrow. Armed with the ancient book and a determination born of desperation, Alex prepared for the ritual that would sever the ties to the Whisperer. It was a gamble, a shot in the dark based on a translation of ancient texts and a belief that the bond between the village and the entity was not unbreakable. On the eve of the ritual, the village was silent, its inhabitants locked behind doors barred against the darkness. Alex stood alone in the clearing, the book open before them, the words of the incantation a whisper against the howling of the wind. As they spoke the final words, the air grew heavy, the boundary between worlds blurring until Alex was not in the forest but somewhere else, a place where darkness reigned and the lost souls wandered in endless torment. The Whisperer appeared before Alex, a shadow among shadows, its voice a cacophony of whispers that filled Alex's mind with dread. "Why do you defy me?" it asked, its words a knife edge against Alex's will. "I defy you for them," Alex said, gesturing to the lost souls, "for the village, for the future." A laugh, dark and terrible, echoed through the space. "Bold words for one so insignificant, but you will learn, as all do, that the pact cannot be broken so easily." Alex felt the weight of the Whisperer's gaze, the enormity of what they were attempting crashing down upon them. But they stood firm, the ancient book clutched in trembling hands, their voice steady as they spoke the words that would either free Eldritch Hollow or consign them to join the ranks of the lost. The world held its breath, the moment stretching into eternity. Then, with a scream that tore through the fabric of reality, the Whisperer recoiled, its form dissolving into the darkness from which it had come. The bond was broken, the pact undone. Alex collapsed, the book falling from their hands as the clearing returned, bathed now in the soft light of dawn. The forest was silent, the screams and whispers faded to memory. They had done it. They had freed Eldritch Hollow. As the village awoke to a new day, free from the shadow of the Whisperer, Alex knew their time in Eldritch Hollow was at an end. They had come seeking inspiration, but found instead a purpose, a battle fought and won against the darkness. With a final glance at the forest, now just a forest once more, Alex turned away, the ancient book tucked under their arm, a reminder of the cost of freedom and the price of silence. Eldritch Hollow would live on, its future unwritten, its past a story to be told in hushed tones, a warning and a lesson to those who would listen. And Alex? They would continue to write, their tales now infused with the knowledge that sometimes the greatest horrors are those we invite into our lives, and the greatest courage is found in standing against them. Months had passed since the night when the pact was broken, and the village of Eldritch Hollow had slowly begun to weave itself into a new tapestry of existence. The change was palpable, not just in the tangible silence that no longer whispered with voices of the past, but in the air itself, which seemed fresher, unburdened by the weight of centuries-old secrets. Alex Hartfield, once a stranger drawn to the village by an unseen force, now left behind a legacy that was woven into the very essence of Eldritch Hollow. The ancient book, its pages filled with dark rituals and darker histories, had found a new home in the village library, a testament to the courage of one who dared to stand against the darkness. The villagers, freed from the cyclical sacrifice that had once defined the rhythm of their lives, faced the future with a cautious optimism. The first harvest without the pack's dark bounty was hard, the winter harsher than remembered, but there was a unity among the people, a shared resolve to rebuild and flourish on their terms. But peace, as it often does, brought with it new challenges. The forest, once a border between the village and the realm of the Whisperer, had begun to recede, revealing paths and clearings that no one, not even the oldest among them, could recall. It was as if the land itself was shifting, unsettled by the breaking of the ancient pact. In the heart of the village, the chapel stood silent, its bell tower no longer a beacon for wary souls, but a reminder of the night when the veil was torn asunder. Yet, within its walls, a new story was being written, one of redemption and hope, as the villagers gathered not to whisper prayers into the darkness, but to share in the light of their newfound freedom. And what of Alex? They had left Eldritch Hollow as quietly as they had arrived, their car disappearing down the winding road that snaked through the forest. But their presence lingered, in the stories told around fireplaces on cold nights, in the quiet thanks offered by those who walk the forest paths without fear. The book Alex intended to write had changed, no longer a tale of horror and haunting, but one of heroism and heart. Yet, as they penned the final chapter, a sense of unease crept over them, a whisper from a place between the lines. For in breaking the pact, had they opened a door to something new, something unknown? Eldritch Hollow continued to exist in a balance between light and shadow, its future uncertain but its people resilient. And in the depths of the forest, where the moonlight danced among the ancient trees, a new whisper began to grow, not of the past, but of the future, of stories yet to be told. As the seasons turned, bringing with them the promise of renewal, Eldritch Hollow and Alex Hartfield moved forward, bound by a story that had changed them both, a reminder that sometimes the greatest battles are fought not with might, but with the power of a single voice in the darkness. And so, the story of Eldritch Hollow, a tale of darkness and light, of sacrifice and salvation, became a legend, a whisper on the wind that spoke of the power of the human spirit to confront the shadows and emerge, triumphant and transformed into the dawn of a new day. Thank you for journeying with us through the shadowed paths of Eldritch Hollow. If you've enjoyed this tale of mystery, suspense, and the supernatural, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more stories like this to life. Don't forget to click the bell icon to receive notifications for all our future uploads, so you never miss out on a new adventure. Share this audiobook with your friends who love a good, spine-tingling story, and let us know in the comments what you thought about Eldritch Hollow and what you'd like to hear next. Until our paths cross again in another tale, keep the lights on and the spirits at bay. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next story.